Hi there, welcome to Rumor Spill. Ever since the tragic demise of the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur in 1996, a whirlwind of suspicion and allegations has swirled around the figure at the center of it all. Believe me, this person is not one to be trifled with. His power is such that he could alter your fate in a mere moment. Fast forward to the present, and the spotlight has unexpectedly shifted to Dr. Dre, who finds himself entangled in this complex web. The situation looks grim for him, and trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end of this video to uncover the twists in Dr. Dre's involvement in Tupac's murder case. So, let's jump right into the details. But first, a quick shout out to the renowned celebrity jeweler Ice Champ. He's currently offering amazing deals on diamond watches, chains, and more. Be sure to follow Ice Champ on Instagram for these exclusive offers. Before aligning with Death Row, Tupac had a bone to pick with Dr. Dre, and he was actively collaborating with someone Tupac considered an adversary. Initially, Tupac viewed Dr. Dre as an idol, but this perception quickly soured. Tupac felt betrayed when Dre failed to testify at Snoop Dogg's murder trial, despite Snoop being Dre's protege. This perceived lack of support for Snoop and Death Row was a turning point for Tupac. Adding fuel to the fire, Tupac took issue with the fact that Dr. Dre, despite his limited involvement, was getting all the credit for producing the 1996 hit album All Eyes on Me. Tupac openly mocked Dr. Dre in a Vibe magazine interview, showcasing his deep-seated animosity towards the rapper. Dre's reputation as a producer was under scrutiny, with accusations that others were behind the beats while he basked in the glory. Despite his talents, Dre hadn't produced a hit single in 3 years after his departure from Death Row. Tupac didn't hold back in his songs, lambasting Dre and accusing him of being a fraud. In his 1996 album 7 Day Theory, Tupac ridiculed Dre, calling him out in the third verse of Toss It Up, accusing Dre of losing his authenticity. The song's lyrics are a scathing commentary on Dre's alleged shift in musical direction and personal identity. The pre-remix beat of the album was strikingly similar to Blackstreet's No Diggity, a track produced by Dre that featured lyrics never officially released. Tupac's words were a direct jab at Dre, who had started collaborating with Nas after his release from Death Row, ending his career 6 years prior and vowing to forego record sales. The history between Dr. Dre and Suge Knight is a complex one, filled with ups and downs. Initially, they were a formidable duo in the music industry, achieving monumental success and facing significant challenges. However, their relationship deteriorated over time, morphing into a bitter feud.
Their collaboration began in 1991, brought together by a mutual acquaintance known as the Doc. Eager to move past his turbulent history with Jerry Heller and Ruthless Records, Dre found a new beginning with Knight. Knight proposed starting a label together, offering Dre the freedom to scout talent and produce while he handled the financial side of things. Dre eagerly agreed.
When Dre's groundbreaking album, The Chronic, was released in 1992, Knight played a crucial role in freeing him from his contract with Ruthless Records. However, the dynamics at Death Row Records began to change when Tupac joined forces with Suge Knight in 1995, after his release from prison.
The infamous East Coast Vs. West Coast rivalry was fueled by Tupac and Knight, creating a toxic and dangerous atmosphere. Drew grew increasingly frustrated with the label's descent into negativity, which hindered his ability to produce quality music. The situation worsened as Knight's gangster persona spilled over into the streets, with threats and violent confrontations becoming all too common.
During this tumultuous time in 1995, Dre struggled with depression and turned to alcohol for solace. Allegations surfaced about his tumultuous relationship with his former girlfriend, R&B singer Michelle, including claims of physical abuse. However, the final straw for Dre was Tupac's death. Unable to cope with the escalating toxicity at Death Row, Dre decided to part ways with Knight and collaborate with Jimmy Iovine. Iovine employed legal maneuvers to extricate the G-Funk producer from the label. Shortly after, Snoop Dogg also left, draining Death Row of its star power. In a dramatic twist, Suge Knight has filed a lawsuit against Dr. Dre, accusing him of a murder attempt. This development comes amid Knight's ongoing murder trial, adding another layer of complexity to the saga. The lawsuit, demanding a staggering $300 million from Dr. Dre, alleges that Dre sought to eliminate Knight to avoid financial obligations. Dr. Dre's lawyer, Howard King, dismissed the lawsuit as baseless. In a related development, Leland Carter, the widow of Terry Carter, who was tragically killed by Knight's truck during the filming of the NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton, has also been embroiled in legal action against Knight. The case continues to unravel, with numerous questions and allegations emerging around the murder trial of Knight and Carter. In a recent turn of events, Thaddeus Culp has shed light on the motives behind the cross-complaint filed in the case. According to Culp, Knight attributes the tragic incident on September 7, 1996, the night of Tupac's fatal shooting, to Dr. Dre. On that fateful day, Tupac was in Las Vegas, Nevada, celebrating the birthday of his business partner, Tracy Danielle Robinson, and attending the Bruce Seldon vs. Mike Tyson boxing match at the MGM Grand. In a twist of fate, a member of their group spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, a reputed Southside Compton member, who was alleged to have attempted a chain-snatching incident involving a Death Row Records medallion. Later that night, as part of a larger convoy, Tupac and Knight left their hotel in a black BMW 750i sedan, heading to Club 662, Death Row's nightclub. The events that followed were a series of unfortunate incidents. The BMW was initially stopped by law enforcement for loud music and missing license plates, but was released after the plates were found in the trunk. Minutes later, a white Cadillac approached the BMW, and a barrage of gunfire ensued, striking Tupac multiple times. Despite being injured, Knight managed to drive Tupac and himself a mile away from the scene. However, their efforts were in vain. Tupac sustained critical injuries, including multiple gunshot wounds, and was rushed to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Despite the best efforts of medical personnel, Tupac succumbed to his injuries on September 13, 1996, following respiratory failure and cardiac arrest. The loss of Tupac Shakur sent shockwaves through the music world and left many questions unanswered. His passing marked the end of an era and left a void in the hearts of his fans and the hip-hop community. The aftermath of Tupac's death was a tempest of confusion and grief. At approximately 3:30 p.m. on that fateful Friday, despite desperate attempts by medical professionals, Tupac's life could not be saved. The announcement of his death sent a ripple of disbelief and sorrow across the globe, marking the end of a vibrant life and a phenomenal career in the music industry. This tragic incident not only left an indelible mark on Tupac's fans, but also ignited a series of controversies and conspiracy theories. The finger-pointing and speculation have persisted for years, with various individuals being implicated in the crime. Among those mentioned was Dr. Dre, whose past with Tupac was fraught with professional rivalry and personal disagreements. The animosity between Tupac and Dr. Dre stemmed from a series of incidents that unfolded during their time at Death Row Records. Tupac's outspoken nature and Dr. Dre's perceived lack of support during critical moments only deepened the rift between them. This tension was further exacerbated by Tupac's allegations that Dr. Dre took credit for work he hadn't done, particularly on the All Eyes on Me album. Tupac's frustration with Dre was palpable in his music, where he often took jabs at the producer for his alleged inauthenticity and lack of contribution to the hip-hop scene. Dr. Dre's career after leaving Death Row was marked by collaborations with other artists, notably Nas, which Tupac saw as a betrayal. Dre's shift away from the label and his subsequent endeavors were seen by Tupac as a departure from the loyalty and unity that Death Row represented. The relationship between Dr. Dre and Suge Knight, the co-founders of Death Row Records, was equally tumultuous. Their partnership, which started with high hopes and ambitions, eventually deteriorated into a bitter feud. This conflict was rooted in their differing visions for the label and the direction of their careers. While Dre was focused on producing quality music, Knight's approach was more aggressive, often involving street politics and intimidation tactics. The environment at Death Row Records became increasingly volatile, especially with the involvement of Tupac Shakur. The label, which once thrived on its groundbreaking music and cultural influence, began to crumble under the weight of internal conflicts and external pressures. The East Coast versus West Coast rivalry, fueled in part by Tupac and Knight, only added to the chaos, making the label a hotbed of controversy and violence. Dr. Dre's personal struggles during this period also played a significant role in his decision to leave death row. Battling depression and turning to alcohol, Dre found himself in a dark place, further compounded by allegations of abuse in his personal life. The death of Tupac, a pivotal figure in the label's history, was the final straw that led Dre to seek a fresh start away from the tumultuous world of death row. This fresh start came in the form of a partnership with Jimmy Levine, who helped Dre extricate himself from his contract with death row. This move signaled a new chapter in Dre's career, one that focused on creative freedom and a departure from the negative influences that had plagued his time at the label. However, the legacy of death row and the events surrounding Tupac's death continued to haunt Dre. In a shocking twist, Suge Knight filed a lawsuit against Dre, alleging that the producer had attempted to have him killed. This accusation was part of a larger legal battle that involved wrongful death claims and disputes over financial dealings. Dre's legal team, led by attorney Howard King, dismissed these allegations as unfounded and baseless. The legal entanglements surrounding Death Row Records and its key figures highlight the complex and often tumultuous nature of the music industry. The saga of Tupac's death and the subsequent fallout is a story of talent, ambition, rivalry, and tragedy. It serves as a reminder of the thin line between artistic genius and the darker aspects of fame and fortune. As we reflect on the legacy of Tupac Shakur and the turbulent history of Death Row Records, it's important to recognize the profound impact they had on the music industry and popular culture. Their story, marked by brilliance and controversy, continues to captivate and intrigue fans and observers alike. The mystery of Tupac's death remains unsolved, a lingering question in the annals of music history. The tale of Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, and Tupac Shakur is more than just a story of hip-hop. It's a narrative that encapsulates the highs and lows of the human experience. It's a saga of dreams realized and shattered, of friendships formed and broken, and of the relentless pursuit of artistic expression in the face of adversity. It's a reminder that behind the glitz and glamour of the music industry lies a world of complex relationships, intense emotions, and life-altering decisions. In the end, the story of Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Death Row Records is a testament to the enduring power of music and its ability to shape our lives and culture. It's a story that continues to resonate with fans around the world, a story that, despite its tragic elements, celebrates the transformative power of art and the indomitable spirit of those who dare to dream. Subscribe Rumor Spill for more videos.